My name is Hussein Ahmadi. I'm half Iranian, half Kurdish. And back in 2015, I had to leave the home because I wasn't safe. So my mother sent me away to be safe. And back in then, I was young, so I didn't know where she's gonna send me. I had no clue. I thought they're gonna, she's gonna send me somewhere like, let's say Leeds to Bradford. It's a different city. So I didn't know. She passed me to my uncle, and my uncle passed me to a smuggler. So all of a sudden, I ended up in the back of the car and the back of the truck for a few days. And then after a week, 10 days, I found out I'm in France. So, and then from there on, they would try to smuggle me to the UK every day. Every day I was trying, every single day, and it was hard for me because obviously at the same in at one point I was thinking about home. I didn't know what's going on because I didn't have any phone, I didn't have any contact, so I had no clue what's happening back in home, and I was scared because the last time I've seen my mother and my brother who been taken away by the government, it was back in 2015. So it was hard for me to live somewhere that I don't it was in the jungle, it was in the tent. I wasn't feeling safe and I had nobody by my side. I was by myself. But then I had to survive it. Like, I had no choice. And I was there, believe it or not, I was there for 11 months. I was in the jungle in France, in Dunkirk. Even now when I think about it, I can't believe it. How did I stay that long? Obviously I had no choice because I did try to stay. But then I got beaten up to death by the smugglers. So if you look at there's a scar in my eyebrow because once they came, they tried to stop me just because I wanted to stay, because I was tired, like every night I was trying, and then I was getting caught by police, by security, and then they knew my name. They were like, Hussein, no chance, come back tomorrow. Like, they knew everything, and I'm like, can you just let me go? Like, pretend I'm not here. Just no, we cannot do that. So they couldn't do that, and then they knew me. They were like, and it was hard for me because I was seeing people coming to the jungle and then staying for a week. I was meeting them, like they would come, they were fresh. I was meeting them. I was like, sometimes I was helping them to build a tent, and then after a week, they're gone. They made it to the UK, and I was still there. So I was there like for 10, 11 months, and I was kind of I was giving up. I was like, I don't think my luck is here. So I was trying to stay, but then I couldn't. I was scared. I had to listen to smugglers. So after 10 months, 11 months, it was a night we tried, and honestly, probably it was my last night because I was like literally giving up. We tried, and then they put me in a freezer truck. It was minus 18 to 20 degrees. It was like frozen chicken and frozen fries. They put me in, and 13 others. 12 or 13, can't really remember this, but we came in, and that was the first one we went in, and then as soon as I went in, there was all like smoke, like frozen smoke, and I said after like 10-20 minutes, obviously because the driver doesn't know you're inside, so after 20 minutes I start to like kind of shake cold. I was really cold. I was praying to God like, okay, you know what, I hope the driver wakes up and knows we're inside, and open the door and say, go back to the jungle. But after after a few hours, I heard he turned the engine on, and then he drove off. I was a bit happy but cold but sad at the same time. And then at that point, I was hoping it would go in the right direction, because sometimes they put you, like I've been to the situation that put me in a truck, he ended up in France, in Paris, ended up in Spain, and then all the way you had to walk back. Like, I've ended up in them places. So because they don't know where it's gonna go, they just guess like, oh, this is guaranteed, get in. So they put me in, and they put the engine on, the driver drove, and then I was like happy, okay, it's going. But then my next thought was, is it gonna go to the right direction, or is it gonna go to Paris, end up or in Germany or somewhere? But then it went to the right direction, and I was happy, but then at the same time I was freezing. I was freezing to death. Fast forward, and then it went to the the control border. He went through the first one, he went through the second one, and then the third one was British control. And then they stopped, they opened the truck, and I was happy, not gonna lie, because I was so cold. But the thing is, I couldn't make noise, because if I would have made noise, and then the driver knows we're inside, and we're going back to the jungle, the smuggler would kill me, because everybody will say we got caught because of him. He made noise, or he did that. I mean, we weren't even allowed to pee in the back of the truck. We had to have a bottle in our hand, because if you pee, they think the dog's gonna smell it, and then because of you risk everybody. You know, it was bad. So I was scared, I was crying, and then it went to the third control. I heard noises, the truck stopped, and then I heard this, they opened the truck, and I was really happy. I was like, that's it, I'm going back to the jungle. But they opened the door, in my belief, because they saw so many smoke comes out, they said there's no way anybody gonna go in. They didn't even come up to look at it, they just closed it. But I was so scared. After they caught us, I was like, yes, they caught us, you know? They closed the door, they're waiting for police to come. That's what I was hoping. But then at the same time, I was thinking, why is the freezer still on? Because if they catch you, they put the freezer off. But then at that time, I was so scared and stuff, so I wasn't thinking about that. And all of a sudden, I hear the truck, after like an hour, turned on again and drove. And then I heard it went up. So obviously, because I was there for 10, 11 months, and I was getting caught every time next to the ferry, I knew what it feels. So this time when it went up, I knew it's going up to the ferry. And then when it went in, I could hear the noises, you know, like you could hear all the sound change. As soon as it get in, I could hear the wave of water, I could hear that we're inside the ferry. And I was happy, I was like literally crying, but happy crying obviously, because I couldn't believe it was me. Like, I made it after like 10, 11 months trying every night. No, like some night I didn't even have food at all, like no food. Some night I didn't have sleep, like a week of no sleep, just trying. So when it was in the ferry, I was happy, and I was like, yeah, you know, that's it. And then, like, our plan was, like me and the other people, when it get to the UK, when it drove off, we're gonna make noise and then we're gonna get caught. And then when it got here, when it drove from Dover, after like 10 minutes we made noise, we started making noise. The driver didn't know, keep carry on. And we were like really, at that time it was like 11 hours, 12 hours, we've been inside. So we were like making, and you couldn't do anything because it was all like a freezer truck, so you cannot like run away or do anything. So we tried to ban the trucks, you know, make noise, nothing. The driver would keep going. It got to London, and then one of the guys had a phone, and I could speak a bit of English because in France I went in the jungle, there was a teacher, so I tend to like kind of learn English, so I could speak a bit. And I was calling, so we called the police. I was like, we're dying, we're inside. And then one thing really like pissed me off in that time was the police were saying, do you know the registration number? And I was like, well, if I know that, I would thank the driver and say thank you and bye. I'm inside of it. What color is it? What? I said, I don't know, I'm inside, and can you just stop all the trucks? No, we cannot do that. And it's like, I'm like, can you not truck the phone? Like, you can literally truck the phone, know where I am, and then just say, okay, send the police, whatever. Stop the truck, no? And all the other people were getting mad at me in the truck because they thought I'm taking a piss, basically. And I was like, I'm trying, you know, they don't care, they're like, we cannot find it. Anyway, I was keep calling, the signal keep going because we were back of the truck, so it was keep coming, going. Anyway, at the end, they couldn't, basically, they didn't care really, so they didn't do anything about it. And we would keep trying to make noise, nothing, like literally we were up, like me, what I thought, like the last minute, I thought, that's it, like my life is over, and I didn't see UK, like I didn't even see it, the road, like I didn't even see it, so that's what it was in my mind. I made it, okay, but I didn't even see the road, and I'm about to die. Like I gave up because I was like, I couldn't move, I was in a slow motion, I was frozen a bit. And then there was only one guy who didn't give up really, we all gave up, we all like, we couldn't do anything, we couldn't move. But then luckily came to Leeds, he stopped in Leeds in the factory, and then when he opened the door we all ran away, like we just ran away. But then for me it was like, if I was inside for another 10 seconds, you know, even maybe 5 seconds, I would have been dead. That's like 100%, because because like I remember myself like I couldn't really talk, I couldn't move, like like my breath, like everybody was like that. They all like kind of gave up because there was no oxygen. Like literally it was cold. So yeah, so when the driver stopped, opened the door, we all ran away, and then like we all explored. Like since that day, I haven't seen anyone else. Like we all different direction, and then I saw a guy who was like me, was brown, dark hair, and then I told him this. I said I just arrived back, so he helped me. He bought me some water and a cake, and then he took me to the home office. He says they will help you, and then from then on, obviously, they put me in a foster care, and then but then I remember when the day later, like one day later, that's it. My voice was gone for a week. I couldn't talk for a week, 2 weeks. My voice was really, I don't know. It was like I wanted to talk, but I couldn't really talk. I couldn't shout. It was all frozen. But then even now, when I drive in the motorway, or when I'm in the motorway, when I see trucks, always it reminds me of that, like flashback to when I was back away. And I was in back of so many trucks, like because I tried for 11 months every night. Like some night I was trying like 3-4 times. Like I remember one night I tried, the security caught me, and then they let me go. By the time he went back to his position, I was in the next truck coming back in. Like he was like catching me. He was like, I just threw you out through the door. How did you get back in? Like sometimes I was getting caught like 5-6 times that, like in an hour. And then all they had to put us in a room for a few hours because then the sun will come out and they will let us go. But sometimes it was so cold. Like I wish they caught me and they put me inside because I didn't want to be outside. It was so cold. But they knew it's cold in France. They wouldn't put me inside. They just let me go. They say okay, go. So I will try again. So I will keep trying until they say okay, you know what, you have to go in for a few hours. Like it is mad. But then yeah, that was my journey. Then I came here, and then I guess my love began from here. Then
How many hours do you actually think you were in that freezer for?
I would say 15-16 hours. Yeah, I know it was, and it wasn't that normal freezer. It was like -18 to 20. It was like, because I remember once they put me in a apple. It was an apple truck, but it was a bit cold. Not cold. It was like -3-4. I remember I was in that, and then I thought it's -4-3, 4-5, whatever. I was like, it's easy. So I went in. I remember after 5 minutes I started shaking because it was all the way to the top. So my nose was in the back, in the truck like this. So yeah. But then now I think about, okay, well, I said that's cool, but then I made it in a freezer that is like literally was chicken, frozen chicken, and frozen fries. It wasn't anything like, because sometimes they put you in a like bananas. You're like, okay, I can eat bananas, while I mean, they put you in something that you can at least survive. But that one was so cold that honestly I thought, I thought that's it. Like I gave up. Like I thought that's it. Like after 11 months trying, because my journey took a year, like from home to here. And sometimes I meet people like in here. They like, it took us a week, and I'm like, okay, well, it took me a year. So it was hard. It was hard, really. Like there was days I was giving up, but at the same time I couldn't do anything because I didn't have any power and I was all by myself. So I couldn't be like, I couldn't fight the smuggler because the smuggler were like, they had weapon first of all. Second of all, they were like 20, 30, 40, 50. Like I couldn't even say anything. I had to listen to them.
And how old were you?
So I was 14, 15. At that time it was a good feeling, but at the same time it was a sad feeling because at the same time I was still thinking about home. But then at the same time I was thinking like, okay, I actually made it after a year, So I couldn't believe, like I was literally slapping myself. Is it a dream? It is like, it was really hard to believe, like after all these 10, 11 months trying every night. I was like literally I gave up in myself. When I came, they took me to a foster care for a bit until I kind of recovered, and then they interviewed me. And they did what do they call it? Age assistant? It's like kind of they guess your age basically. And it was because obviously what happened is they didn't believe in my age, and uh, they so basically they're from 1 year older than what I said, and it did kind of, like I was really mad because I said, listen, I don't like it if I look at you and be like, you're this age. I prefer to get a professional, like whatever dentist. Like I did, so I fought for it twice, but then still they decided at the end of the day. It was still underage, but it was just mad when, like I find even now it's the same. Like they look at you, they be like, they ask you a question, and then based on that questions, they will decide your age, which I think it's not great really. Like I was saying, I don't mind getting check up. I'm happy. I'm not saying I don't want to get check up, But then they were like, no, yeah, there's nothing. Like they were telling me there's nothing that can check your age, and I was like, okay. It was just weird. And the whole process was weird. But then obviously they sent me to college, the first year. They sent me to a college that were all refugees basically, and don't get me wrong, it was great, but then I think I didn't find it helpful because it was all like Iranian, Kurdish, Arab. So basically we were more talking our language than English. So I couldn't like the English I even knew, I was like forgetting. So I went to a different college. I said, I just basically explained. I said, listen, I've been here for a year, but where I'm studying at the moment is all like they talk my language, and and I want to be an actor. So I went to Park Lane College, Lee City College. The lady interviewed me, and she was lovely. She was really welcoming me. She was like, well, why do you want to be an actor? And she was like, have I done acting before? I was like, no. She was asking me a question, and then she said, yeah, well, I accept you. And then I was like, yeah, but then I don't have a qualification like level 1. And she said, yeah, I don't mind, and I felt so happy that time, like, cause I remember when I told my previous college, I said, I'm going to do an acting course. I remember the teacher told me, oh, don't go, because your English will be like the street English. It won't be like proper English, it won't be grammary or whatever, and I said, yeah, but then I'm not learning anything. And so basically I left, and then I did acting 1 year, and in that course, the first year, it was all English, and I was the only one who was in English, and I had to, beside learning English and math, I had to do acting, and acting was in all English. So basically I was doing English full time. So that year I studied, I felt like my English improved like way better. Like I felt like in that year, I feel like I've learned like so much that I could understand everything and I could talk everything. So I remember the second year I went back to my college to get my qualification, my previous college that told me to not go. And then I saw my teacher, my English teacher, and I was talking to him. He was like, "Oh, your English is really good, Like, I said, "Yeah, you didn't say that last year,
Would it be better to kind of not, segregate you in a way because you're a refugee, or maybe integrate you more into a school with everyone else? Would that have helped you more? Do you
Yeah,
think?
well, I would love to go to school. I even tried to go to school, but then they said, no, you're too old for school. Because I wouldn't want to go to school too, because I know some people don't like school, but because I love to learn English, so I wanted to. I was really passionate about English, So they said no, and then they registered me with Lee City College, but it was like it called for Infield. Back in then it called Infield College, Lee City College, and it was like all obviously refugees. So it was mostly from like Iraq, Iran, and then Spain, somewhere, But it was mostly like Iraq and Iran, and it was just it was helpful. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't that bad. Like I've learned a lot of grammar, like past simple, present. I've learned that, but in terms of like going forward with language, I didn't get anything, because every break time I had friends, I knew people, or I met people who were talking my language, so we would talk our language, and only in class we were talking English, but it wasn't a lot of English we were talking. So it was great, but it wasn't great enough for me. I wanted to push myself. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to go like way higher, not just one step higher. It was like way higher. Plus, I was in a foster care at that. I had to speak English, you know. So I didn't have any friends that out of college that I would talk in Kurdish with or Iranian. It was all English. But then when I got accepted in Park Lane, it was a great feeling for me because I was the only one who was a refugee in all that acting department. And it was hard, you know, it was hard for me because sometimes I felt like I'm not good enough because I saw all these people talking perfect English. They're not struggling with anything, with acting, with improvising, with doing that. And I was seeing myself, I couldn't think fast enough, I couldn't get words out, I couldn't, and I felt, you know, there was time that I felt down every time, like I was like, I feel like the students hate me because I cannot feel them, give them the energy they give me because I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing, you know. I felt down myself, but I was keep going at the same time. I was like, no, I need this because, you know, because it's my dream.